Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very, very warm welcome to Leading Businesses Through Change and Collaboration, a Singtel and Zoom joint event to celebrate a new era of our collaboration, where we put video at the forefront of business communications and collaboration. My name is Dawn, and I will be your MC for this event. Today, we hope to open up for you a world of possibility where we put video collaboration right at the very center. And what better way to do this than to do it at our very own Future Now Innovation Center, a center for thought leadership and customer engagement, where we showcase our Singtel suite of technological services and we engage our customers on the value of these technologies in transforming business and operating models. Now, the event will start with the opening address by Lim Seng Kong, Managing Director, Singtel Enterprise Business, and Ricky Kapur, Head of Asia Pacific Zoom. This will be followed by a demo segment where we showcase Zoom solutions in conjunction with our communications platform as a service and unified communications solution portfolios, and explore possibilities with Singtel 5G and multi-access edge compute. Then we'll move into the highly anticipated Fireside chat segment with Bill Chang, CEO, Group Enterprise and CEO, Regional Data Center Business Singtel, and Eric Yuan, founder and CEO of Zoom, as they discuss their vision for a video-first future. And joining them, of course, our esteemed customer panelists, Kenneth Quek, Deputy Group CEO, Sing Health and CEO, Singapore General Hospital, Patrick Yap, CIO, Maybank Singapore, and Alvin Ong, CIO, Nanyang Technological University, who will share their perspectives for leveraging video collaboration to drive better business and organizational outcomes. And because we know that you'll have burning questions by the end of this event, we've also catered for a short Q&A segment so that our panelists can take your questions before we proceed to lunch at Hotel Jen at 11:30 a.m. Without further ado, let's welcome Lim Seng Kong, Managing Director, Singtel Enterprise Business, to deliver his welcome address. Seng Kong, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very warm welcome to today's event. I know it is the week before Chinese New Year, and for those of us who celebrate Chinese New Year, we know what it is like. So let me also take this opportunity to wish you in advance, 恭喜发财. Well, today we celebrate a very significant milestone for Singtel and Zoom. Communication. Every time the word is mentioned, it is almost always taken for granted, treated as a very well understood concept, and it usually does not elicit a lot of response from the audience. However, in my view, communication technologies have gone through profound changes in the last decade or so. It has done three things to communication: making it more effective. Unfortunately, like all good things, there are also downsides, making it more complex. But at the end of the day, if used correctly, it can be a very impactful tool for your organization. First, let me talk about effectiveness. Technologies have enabled multimedia communication, which has multi-sensory appeal. This made communications more effective. In the early days, when you talk about communications, people just think about nothing but words, whether spoken or written. In today's world, we have an abundance of videos from YouTube. PowerPoint, we are all flooded and bombarded by it. And this definitely brings to life the saying, a picture is better than 1,000 words. Having said that, there are also times where a short pencil is better than a long memory. A simple text message would be the most appropriate. So the point here is not about which communication channel or media is most appropriate, but it is all about using the right channel at the right time. Zoom has embedded its capabilities into applications and allow us to use the most appropriate means of communication at the most appropriate time. Totally intuitive, integrated with our everyday workflow. Now, while multimedia communications has enhanced effectiveness, it has also introduced complexity. How often have we been talking to different parties of the same organization, and when they are not properly synchronized or syndicated, it creates confusion. So Singtel's communication platform as a service, CPaaS in short, brings out the best of unified communication into a single platform. CPaaS basically integrates cloud-based collaboration solution like Zoom with telephony features like number portability, IVR, virtual PBX, and making them all accessible through fixed line as well as mobile devices. So whether you're in the office or you're on the move, you enjoy the same experience. And this will enable different stakeholders to collaborate very effectively and ensure that the various communication channel works harmoniously. You can see from the above that communication technologies, if deployed correctly, can make communication a very impactful tool for organizations, be it for building the right relationship with stakeholders, acquiring never before business capabilities, or simply improving productivity. Now, to top it all up, 5G has arrived. The ultra-high-speed connectivity also supports high-definition images or video that are fit for medical use, and this opens up a whole new world of possibilities. We are pleased to collaborate with Zoom to integrate their solution into our CPaaS platform to be used with our other communication tools seamlessly. Together, we invite you to imagine with us today a whole new world of possibilities. A world where you can use video calls in a seamless and intuitive manner. A world where you can potentially save lives with high-quality video images. A world where various teams can collaborate effectively regardless of geographical locations or boundaries. So ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy the event as we share with you our vision of the Singtel Zoom collaboration. We will take you through use case demos that will spur your imagination. So let's welcome the new era of communications together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Seng Kong. Next, we would like to invite Ricky Kapur, Head of Asia Pacific Zoom, for his opening address. Ricky, please.
Thank you. Firstly, thank you, Seng Kong, for opening us out, and thank you, Bill, and the entire Singtel team for putting this session, putting this event up, and inviting us to participate both in this event and in the partnership. I think our relationship with Singtel goes back a few years, and there's nothing more pleasing than a relationship that gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think you said it well, Seng Kong. Today is a milestone event where we're actually bringing together our technologies on behalf of our customers. And so thank you to all of you for joining us this morning. And like Seng Kong, I would like to wish you all a very happy Lunar New Year. Gong Si Fa Chai, and I think this is a very auspicious time. So thank you all for joining us for this session. Singapore is a very important place for Zoom within the Asia Pacific region. It is here in Singapore that we've established an R&D, a global R&D center. We've established relationships with the EDB and some amazing use cases with customers in this room that partly we will showcase today. So, and of course, Eric loves Singapore, and he said that to me many times. So it's the first visit that he's made in the Asia Pacific region, and that to Singapore. So it's a very important place for us to do amazing things, and this partnership gets us on the right track. The focus we have really is around two areas. One is, how do we help you together with Singtel? How do we help customers navigate this new hybrid distributed workplace world? And with rich technology, that helps you embrace your culture, but also, meet the requirements of your employees. And that's not always easy. I know every CEO that I meet, every business leader I meet, is trying to grapple with how to make that a reality. That's one area. But beyond that, I think one of the things that we're also doing a lot of amazing work globally, regionally, and particularly in Singapore, is really helping companies reimagine how to transform the customer experience, how to transform the customer experience with video-first platforms, across healthcare, across financial services, across education. And we will be bringing this on a 5G network that is superbly important for latency, quality, and that's part of what the partnership is all about. When we look forward to how we see the market today, or how customers are engaging with us, there's no doubt that the world is hybrid. There's no doubt that every research you read, every conversation I've had, every company is talking about the workforce, the workspace is hybrid, whether it's people coming in 2 days a week or 3 days a week or even 4 days a week. There's always somebody who is in an office, in a work physical space, and somebody else that is zooming in on a video. And the thing that we've been dedicating ourselves to is to how do we make that experience frictionless? How do we allow people, employees, us, to be able to move from one place to another place, from home to office in a frictionless way? But also, how do we help you create inclusive environments that really makes it as accomplished for the person in an office versus somebody in the room to participate? And how do we help you make your employees more productive? And that's not always easy. And in fact, we put a lot of effort into the technology to make it very real, to make it seamless. And that's one big focus for us. And Singapore is leading the way. I read some research recently from the Creative Center of Learning, which showed that within the Asia Pacific region, Singapore is leading the way as the most open-minded approach to the hybrid workspace. In fact, in the research, it showed that amongst all the business leaders, only 1%, so 99% of the leaders said they support a hybrid workplace where people are not coming in 5 days a week into the office. And Singapore's still alone there. So we see a great opportunity then. How do we make it real for you in your world? And as you go through the showcases, you will see some examples of that. But beyond that, as I said earlier, it's also about how do we help industries transform with rich customer experiences. You'll see up there the healthcare use case with telemedicine, and how do we help patients and doctors connect, lower healthcare costs, and how do we work with Singtel together with Zoom and make it easier for the healthcare industry to cut costs, but also improve customer experience. We're doing the same thing in banking. We're doing the same thing in education. We're doing the same thing in government services. So a large part of today, I think, as you go through the next 1 hour, will be reimagination of the art of the possible, about what can be done both in the workspace, but also connecting with customers on a collaboration communications platform like Zoom, powered with Singtel's 5G network and UC capability. So a lot of what we're going to announce today is the starting of embedding of Zoom into Singtel's unified collaborations platform, starting with the Zoom phone connector. And slowly we will build into that with the entire Zoom One platform, which includes Teams chat, includes whiteboard capabilities, rich functionality across collaboration capabilities. So once again, thank you all for being here. Thank you to the Singtel team for the deepening of the partnership, and we look forward for you to have a productive day and a great year ahead. Thank you.
We now move on to the fireside chat with our CEOs and guest speakers who are already seated. Let me introduce them to you. Bill Chang, CEO, Group Enterprise and CEO, Regional Data Center Business Singtel. Eric Yuan, founder and CEO of Zoom, who is especially here with us from the US today. Alvin Ong, CIO, Nanyang Technological University. Kenneth Quek, Deputy Group CEO, Sing Health and CEO, Singapore General Hospital. Patrick Yap, CIO, Maybank Singapore. And last but not least, our moderator, Kenneth Huang, Head of Client Solutions and Transformation, Singtel. Please take it away, Kenneth.
Hello, everyone. After amazing demos that you have seen that probably inspire you to think about how Zoom and Singtel technologies can actually inspire the transformation in your industries, we are so privileged to have a distinguished panel, Eric, all the way from the US. So definitely, my first question will be for Eric, and then followed by the other guests, right? We're going to ask him a very tough question.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the reason why we have to ask the tough questions is that
Any question related to food, I enjoy it. So
Eric, unfortunately, that's not the first question.
okay.
Right, but over in Singapore, we are often a consumer of technologies, often, from the United States, the Europe, or China, right? So you are leading a very important platform, right? Can you share your thoughts with the audience about your vision about video-first collaboration and how it would transform industries and customer environments? And this is very, very key coming from a CEO of Zoom. So I'd like to hear your thoughts, please. Thank you, sir.
You give me a very easy question.
Oh,
I thought it's a tough question. I'm thinking what kind of question you're going to ask, but it's a very easy question because Zoom is working on collaboration platform. Our vision is to make a collaboration frictionless. Given the distributed workforce is going to become mainstream, how to make sure you build a solution, a collaboration platform to make sure your customer happy, your partner happy, your employee happy is very important. We are human beings. We need to stay connected to leverage technology. Otherwise, you are going to worry about productivity and creativity. With technology, give you flexibility. No matter where you are, no matter what kind of device you are going to use, how to leverage Zoom platform to offer a consistent experience. That's our vision.
wow, Eric, that is a very big statement, actually. And you have actually said so much in so little. Do you realize that? Any platform, any machine, any hardware, any human, and I think we have seen some of the elements in the demos today, right? So maybe over to Bill, as the leader of the leading telco around this region, how should a telco evolve, serve our customers in the same way and partnering platforms like Zoom? Right.
Thank you, Kenneth. But firstly, I'm really pleased to see Eric here, just to give the audience a sense how much he loves Singapore and, coming to Sing. This is the week for World Economic Forum in Davos. Eric is a celebrity CEO, very well loved by the business community, very much required at Davos. I met his number 2 last week, and he says, Bill, just to let you know, I had to go all the way to Switzerland, and because my boss wants to be here in Singtel with Singapore. So for that, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Just to add on to what you said, seriously, I'm a huge fan of Singapore. I'm so jealous you all live here. So thank you. My family were here for a family trip summer of 2019. I can tell you, my daughter mentioned, Dad, why don't you work here? I can live here. So that's my daughter told me on the way back. So
thank you. Hearing what Zoom is, I think, and also seeing what Zoom is, obviously, it is a company that is a leader in the whole unified communications and collaboration space. But Zoom has evolved tremendously and making frictionless capabilities for enterprises onboarding into this journey. Now, what's Singtel's role? I think as the leader in the communications, and telecom space and IT services, we see this as a very synergistic, very powerful partnership. UC and C, Unified Comms and Communications, it's really something that a telco should be offering now. It's many telcos will try and pull a UC offerings, but what we have uniquely, it's building our own capabilities like the CPaaS, Communication Platform as a Service. So through one platform, you're able to bring in the various capabilities of Zoom plus a lot of other things that you see that makes it simple for enterprises to be able to adopt this. And whether it's do not call, whether it's, IVR or mobile voice recording, you saw that. And how do we bring this together in a seamless, cost-effective, and frictionless way, leveraging the best of both companies? And not just doing this on our CPaaS, but you think about the world in 5G, high throughput, low latency. And now the whole idea is, not just inserting into your tablets, into your phones, into your PCs, into, your office equipment here, but into every robotic, autonomous robots that's out there in a smart city. And Singapore wants to be a smart nation, and we are really deploying a lot of autonomous robotics in factories, in hospitals, serving the public, in the security agencies, which I won't talk too much, but they're using robots, right? Autonomous robots and all that, powered by 5G. And again, through our unique platform called Paragon, we're able to bring all those. And our aim is with Zoom to put not just into the screens of what I mentioned earlier, with handheld by people, but into the screens of robots. So that when the robots are doing its job and someone needs to interface with it, they can then humanize those robots by bringing an expert or person behind the screen, and yet do its autonomous capabilities and yet interact with the public with its. So if you think about that, a full spectrum, and we always think about what do we bring uniquely and our unique value propositions, differentiation to enable this exciting, frictionless communications and collaborations.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah. What an interesting future we're going to see after the COVID period. 2023, it's the year that the whole world opens up, including China. What would the world see after this? So to get the view, right, from this new world of hybrid work, we have 3 distinguished guests from our customers. So I will get them to share their views, right? And we all know that during COVID, the CTO of the world was actually the virus. It actually forced us to change the way we work, forced us the way we serve our customers, right? And, save lives. So what I want each of the panelists, let's start off with Professor Kenneth, right, is to share the challenges your industry faced after COVID, post-COVID. Were there expectations from your leaders, your business leaders, your board of directors that this is the new norm? You have to serve patients in different ways because COVID has brought about a new normal, right? And how does the hybrid working with humans, robots, video collaboration fit into your new strategy? Professor Kenneth?
Thanks very much, Kenneth. Please call me Kenneth. I get very nervous when people call me Professor Kenneth. Firstly, I want to express my appreciation for the invitation. Great honor to be here and share the stage with Bill and Eric and all the panelists here. But indeed, the pandemic really forced a major change in healthcare, right? And I think that pressure for change came from, in fact, many perspectives. And to us, you mentioned whether it was the board, whether it was the leaders, actually it was mainly from the patients. All right. I think there was, I wouldn't say an evolution, but truly a transformation in the expectations of what patients, what they wanted to see when they interacted with the healthcare environment. I think there was an expectation that there's zero dwell time, right? Because you don't want to interact in crowds and things like that. So how do we have that zero dwell time? How do we have, in fact, patients not coming to the healthcare facility. And in that regard, that's where the video first platforms, and we use Zoom extensively, in fact, almost exclusively for all our patient interactions, and it served us extremely well. That became not just it really became not very quickly, it wasn't a novelty. It really became an expectation. Right. And it wasn't just video first and video consultations between patients and doctors, but it was between patients and nurses, pharmacists, between pharmacists and doctors. It's quite routine now to see our clinical teams doing ward rounds with video consultation, where one or two of the doctors are not there in person. And this really allows the teams, it adds a lot of efficiency to the system, but it also allows the teams to remain small. Otherwise, you may have 8 or 9 people moving around to see a patient, but now you can have 2 or 3 people, right, there physically, but you can have maybe 6 or 7 people there virtually and giving their input. So I think the greatest push actually came from our patients, and we were happy to be able to rise to that challenge. I think one of the demonstrations they showed was the TEMI robot with a patient behind, a doctor behind the screen. Actually, that used quite routinely in SGH now for our pharmacists. When they do teleconsultations, where the patients have their medicines. If they have any questions, they can just consult the pharmacist over the Zoom platform or on the TEMI robot. So that's become quite the norm very quickly. Thanks.
Thank you, Kenneth. It sounds almost like video collaboration has brought patient healthcare at a touch of a button. And actually, it really, we didn't expect this at all. If COVID didn't occur, it will still be the same old way that we work. And digital innovation has not really transformed. But actually, because of COVID, it forced us to work in a very different manner. And you actually said something that's very important. We actually have patient first at a touch of the button, with experts, remote assistants brought to the front line immediately. Versus the old days of navigating the halls of the hospital, waiting for appointments and so on. And that's really a very big game changer in healthcare. With Singapore becoming an aged society, I can only imagine what the future will hold, right? With the aged actually getting healthcare advice in their own homes, in the community centers, in the healthcare centers, right? Thank you, Kenneth. Let's move away from healthcare for a while to a different industry. Let me invite Patrick, right, who is in Maybank. And definitely, during COVID, there were a lot of transactions we couldn't do in person, right? And now, with the evolution towards the post-COVID world, how has customers, really changed their expectations towards a bank? And how do you serve your customers better? Patrick?
Right. Thanks, Kenneth. Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here. Okay. I realize the audience don't have banking and finance people here, so I can share a little bit here. Yeah. First thing is that during the pandemic, if you ask about banking and financial industries, it's quite unbelievable that we can work from home. And one of the reasons is because of sensitive data, right? So that is number one stumbling block. And when the pandemic arrives, we all know that, we were forced, right, to do that. And banking and finance services are critical services. We cannot close our branches because we still need to service our customers. So during that period of time, although we have existing video conferencing software, we started a new evaluation for the entire Maybank Group across Asia. We're talking about 30,000 people, right? And we cannot just close branches overnight. We still have to continue. And during that time, I think everyone was fearful even to come to the branches. Now, you may be thinking, do we have digital banking, mobile apps? At that point in time, yes, we do. So if you look at it, our operations, certain part of it, like payments, we are unable to do even remotely, right? So we have an issue in terms of putting a hybrid system, hybrid workforce, and roll it out to the entire group at the same time in the shortest possible time. Right now, when we use Zoom, for example, we were able to get most of our people on board immediately. Right, that was really, really fast, I must say that. And this will actually help our entire country from Singapore to Malaysia and to the other parts of the world in Asia. And we started the collaboration path in that sense that this is the new norm, right? We realized that we could actually work from home. At the same time, we can also work together with the branches and across the country. And I believe during that time, when we get into all these things, we were all trying to pull the levers and see which one you can share, we cannot share. Those are the sensitive information that we do it, and we evaluated. And after a while, we realized that, hey, this is the new norm. And even post-COVID today, it's still continuing. We have to change our operations at the back just to suit this whole new way of working. So going forward, I don't believe we can go back to the old way of working.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Patrick. I have one little question because banking is a little bit different from healthcare. Banking, you sometimes need to authenticate your customers. In the past, when you authenticate, it's always in the branch, in the in-person signature, right, for certain transactions. How did you guys get through this during the pandemic? And what is the new expectations from customers post-pandemic?
Okay, so this is a little secret, you know, because you have to sign, right? Everyone had to sign, and we have to record the video. We have to change our internal processes, compliance, right, auditing. So during this pandemic, we actually, as I mentioned earlier, we changed our operational processes, our requirements or workflow. And we roll out the digital signature throughout the countries in the region as well. And we did the recording, save the data, and make sure everything is compliant.
Wow, that's amazing. So is this going to be a new expectation from customers post-pandemic?
If you look at it, right, we have multi-channel approaches to service our customer, and different customers have different expectations. So I would just say that video is the new norm, but it serves a certain group, a certain segment of our customer, and will still be there post-pandemic. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's move to a different industry. This industry has a problem with scale because this is university, right? The Institute of Continuous Learning or Higher Learning, right? We have Alvin from NTU, and he was the CIO and is the CIO during the pandemic and the post-pandemic, right? I'm sure he would have lots of struggles to tell you as the students have to study from home, attend lessons from home. So I would like, to invite Alvin to share his thoughts during the pandemic period. And now, what is the new norm? What is the expectations from both lecturers, research assistants, students alike? What is the new normal in NTU now?
Thank you, Kenneth. And first of all, I want to thank Singtel and Zoom for having me here. It's certainly a very great privilege. And also my fellow distinguished panelists, Professor Kenneth okay, and Patrick from Maybank. And the moderator. So thank you so much for having me on this stage. I think first of all, let me just say that having experienced virtual or remote everything, anything, and everywhere for the past 2.5 years since the early 2020 when pandemic struck, I think that the educational institutions, we are now more aware of the feasibility as well as the benefits of a remote and virtual way of working, teaching, learning, research, even many of the university events that used to be held in person, like commencement, open house, career fairs, etc., etc. So many things, and we really have this experience. Once you experience a virtual and remote way of working, basically you are open to the possibilities. And this the reason why we could do that is also because of cloud-based video technologies such as Zoom, which enable us to continue to carry out our activities and experience the face-to-face, quite similar to in person. So this is my first point, and in the my second point is is basically what we have done in this post-pandemic is really we have moved from this in-person by default to hybrid by design. So by this I mean that in our planning and our consideration, we no longer just think of one size fits all in person, but now we have to consider hybrid means a combination of both in person as well as virtual modes of interaction. So this will have to be factored into our customer engagement as well as all our business processes. And the third point is quite similar to what my fellow panelists said, is a new normal. So hybrid will be the new normal. We will never be going back to in person in everything. Any plans that we do is definitely part of our overall strategy now as we move forward post pandemic. So, yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Alvin. I have a follow-up question. The reason why this gets very exciting is because adult learning, as you know, it's a big push in Singapore. Minister Chan has actually wanted, the higher learning institutes, Institute of High Learnings, now Institute of Continuous Learnings, to actually provide educational services for adult learners so that they can keep getting upgraded in their skills, their knowledge, and so on. And as you all know, adult learners are very busy, right? And I think there's a wonderful opportunity about how this will be transformed. Do you think that getting students into your postgrad programs, into your master's degree programs, now they'll be deciding whether the way you conduct those classes and the way that you enroll those students can be both physical and digital. There'll be a mixture of experiences so that the adult learners can take lessons wherever they are, and they can experience the experience of the lecturers and the professors in a very intimate way, but at any place that they want.
Yeah, I think Kenneth, that's a very good question. In fact, it's something that all higher education institutions we think about, whether is it possible to be totally online or can we do a mixture of hybrid. But what I can say is from our experience and our interactions with students, education is still a highly experiential and social experience. So students, even the faculty, the people who are teaching, they value both in person as well as virtual sort of education. And for myself, I recently attended a 10-week course. It's a 10-week course organized by Singapore Computer Society as well as NTU on AI ethics and governance. And the whole course was done virtually. So and there were like 30 over people, and I'm sure, being very busy working adults, we appreciate that we can take the lessons, the live lessons virtually. It's also on a Saturday and then some of the evenings, and this is what we appreciate. At least there's this option available for us. We can do our lessons virtually, and with the right technological video platform, there's really not much impact on a person. In fact, you save travel time, and it's really very comfortable to be at home and you kind of your cozy chair and then taking the lesson. So I would say it's not a one size fit all. It's not going to be totally virtual, totally in person, but it's going to be a hybrid world. But at least we have the option now.
Thank you, Evan, and thank you our customer guests, right, for giving their thoughts. Now we will shift our attention back to Eric again and Bill. But hopefully this time my question will be a little bit more difficult, because the first one was a bit too easy, right? So today our esteemed guest has actually seen 3 demo bays, and a lot of the 3 demo bays were not a singular product. It was not a Singtel product, it was not a Zoom product, but a integration of products and platforms to bring a game changer experience to customers, right? Now, this is what we saw today in the beginning of 2023. What should customers see and expect in the future? And this is quite different. We are seeing the promise of the metaverse, whether that will come true in the near future. We are seeing hyper experiences, right? Actuators, right? Hyundai is talking about meta mobility. So all these new gadgets they're talking about, is it going to come anytime soon? And what are your thoughts on those with the integration of the entire ecosystem, including those of your competitors, right? Yeah, Eric.
Yes, it's a great question. I think you are so right on. This is just a starting point of partnership and integration. And I have a high confidence this partnership and integration can help both sides create the best technology, something like metaverse. So when it comes to partnership or integration, I think the culture is very important. I think both Singtel and Zoom share the same culture. And also, and I truly admire, Bill's leadership, such as a great friend. I think together we keep everything open and transparent. Look at everything from customer perspective. Like look at today's problem, right? So no matter how good those integration are, like today's demo, guess what? Sometimes still not as good as human connection. Like this week I'm here, and I gave Bill a bigger hug. That's an amazing experience. No matter what you do, no matter how many Zoom calls you have, I cannot have that intimate experience, right? And also sorry, not a Professor Kenneth. In Kenneth, when you have a coffee together at local Starbucks coffee, guess what? I can enjoy the smell. But Zoom does not have those technology. Imagine in the future, let's fast forward to 2035, maybe 15 years later, we are going to live in a world where no matter where you are, no matter what kind of device, literally just one click, feel like you and I are sitting together. I shake your hands, you feel my hand shaking. You can enjoy the coffee smell remotely, even if you speak a totally different language, real-time AI-based language translation, all those technologies together, that'll be the future of a metaverse. We are not there yet, but this is a starting point. That's the reason why I look at Singtel. The 5G, in the future 6G, and IoT together with the application. I think that's why this partnership is just a starting point. Very, very, very excited about the future metaverse, all those AI technology. That's a world we are going to live in the future.
Wow, Eric, you almost brought me there. I could smell the coffee, right?
And tea as well.
Tea. Yeah. Wow, I can't imagine this future where I could be anywhere I want to be, smell what I want to smell, right? Experience the fresh air of Switzerland, right? Even though you're not there, right? But it's an amazing future. And I can think that this vision of Zoom and Singtel partnering ahead, creating open integrations, is a very powerful platform for success and also customer experience. But Eric very cleverly did not answer one question. I asked you a question about integrations with competition, and that's a very important question because in this world, we live with a lot of frenemies, right? And sometimes a competition makes us stronger, but the customers need choice. Sometimes Microsoft's platform are chosen by a customer, and they want to be able to be open, right? To use other platforms as well. What are your thoughts towards current, competition integration and the future of competition integration?
Yeah, so you are so right. So when it comes to competition, right, you got to look at everything from a customer perspective. Let's say for any industry, if there's no competitors, guess what? Who is going to suffer? Customers, right? With competition, we all need to think about who can deliver a better solution. Who will be the first vendor to truly understand the customer pinpoint and then come back, build a better solution. Which I also, think Microsoft is a great company, and CEO Satya, also my friend, is a great CEO. But also, you look at a lot of customers. Quite often, IT team, they might deploy Teams. Given that it's a part of a package, it's free. We still have a lot of other customers. They pay for Zoom. Why? Experience is much better. A lot of features, a lot of innovations. Essentially, it's more like an employee's choice, not only just IT choice. So when we look at the competition, even for Microsoft, quite often also partner with them together, right? I think I always think the most important competitor is not your competitor, it's yourself. As long as we look at everything from customer perspective, working very hard, stay humble, build the best solution that can always add value and innovation, eventually it will be okay, right? So also look at the collaboration market. It's huge. No matter which are the big market, almost you have a 2 or 3, players, right? But anyway, so our vision is to really focus on customer, build a better solution. So if a customer had a problem, that will keep him up in the night.
Eric, that is a wonderful answer. In fact, we have actually seen in one of the demos today how open Zoom really is, right? In interoperability with Teams, with WebEx and Google, right? You have given customers choice. You have given customers the flexibility to integrate Zoom rooms to any platform they wish. And I think that is very important because you are very right. Some customers will have different preferences, but you are giving the ability to have frictionless collaboration, no matter what platform they do. And to that, I applaud you. Thank you for putting customer first.
Because, why we build an open platform. That's what a customer, they ask about, right? This is the feature. For sure, you got to make your platform open. If a customer told us, no, I want a closed system, we will make a closed system, right? We always listen to customers.
Thank you, Eric. Over to you, Bill. Now, you heard Eric talk about, his strategy, and you talk about his, his views on competition and bringing competition together, making customers first. So from a Singtel perspective, what do you really think, the future will look like with the collaboration and the openness of the platforms from CPaaS to Zoom to Paragon? And what do you think, customers can expect in the next 5 to 10 years? Yeah.
Thank you, Kenneth. I firmly subscribe to what Eric has said. It's always focus on the customer first. And not on competition, not on, on market shares, focus on the customers. And I think that's been sort of the, number one key thing that I've been driving in this company as well. Once you get it right for the customer, and actually your toughest customer are your best customers because they're going to teach you the most lessons. And we have to learn and we have to then break through and then scale. When you get the lead bowling pin of the toughest customers right, you get the rest of the customers. And that's why I spend my time, most of it, to the most demanding customers. We as a company have been doing that in ensuring we build platforms to bring unified capabilities of various offerings. Zoom, just take 5G, for example. Our edge cloud, even though the hyperscalers are a threat to telcos, we have to see them as partners as well. The frenemies, co-opetition, it is the law of the day, right? And we have to figure out how we create value propositions to coexist and create the value. And what we've done in the 5G world, Paragon, which is what many telcos around the world are now looking and how they can export these capabilities to them and they want to adopt the same. It's really a message of how do we bring unifying different types of offerings together to make it simple for customers. The seamless integration of CPaaS, Paragon, all clear examples. I want to switch gear a little bit and talk about where the other key focus of Singtel is as a company. I gave the team a challenge about 2 years ago. I don't want us to be known for building the most powerful technologies, the most customer-oriented technologies, but I also want you all to focus on how to build the most sustainable, most efficient capabilities. And that's been our strong focus on sustainability. I believe every company, big and small, care about this now. And in the last 12 months, I have so much engagements with CEOs, boards in this facility and outside, all talking about, what is our plans there. So as we build the most powerful technologies, we always have to think about this. Whether building the most green 5G base stations out there with our partner called Ericsson, and it's been proven the least carbon footprint, building green data centers in the other business that I lead across Southeast Asia, the greenest and the most efficient, whether be it partnering with Zoom to reduce carbon footprint so that people can collaborate, communicate without having to take a jet out there, and yet to do it with experiences that's second to none. How do we bring all these capabilities? It's very important. all of you are somewhere, somehow thinking about workplace of the future. I believe that's a common theme other than the vertical industries that's discussed over here. Whether be it like us building the new campus, this place will be torn down in about a year's time, and we're going to move into facilities, and we're going to come back after 3 years after an iconic building is HQ is built here. We are constantly thinking about how do we reduce carbon footprint in the whole process. And, the stuff that you've seen in the hybrid workspaces, it's really about bringing solutions, tablets, and different form factors without having all this complex integration, without having dongles and, connections. It's all software driven. At a click of button, no more than 3 clicks, you're on. And as we design workplace of the future, as our companies all figure out how to optimize and maybe reduce footprint for the real estate, it means making more out of that limited and even more limited workspaces. And to do that, you have to then repurpose and reuse those at a much more efficient and higher rate. And to do that, you don't want to be sending IT people down to every single meeting to reconfigure, to book and all that. It's about enabling those employees to do it self-help with no more than 3 clicks, and they turn on and they can collaborate and they come together. And it's about using that, and the next team comes in, they book it and they use that. So all the solutions, whether be it our base stations to building our data centers, building our submarine cables, we are all pushing to the lowest carbon footprint and making sure that we do it in a data-driven way. And that's the key part that why I'm also so excited. This is really one major step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Actually, the topic that you touched about, sustainability, is very close to my heart as well. And actually, it segues into the last question I have for the panelists. Somehow, it's setting up correctly, right? So, may I also invite, Kenneth, to give your take upon ESG requirements. Now, I wanted to make a very specific view on that. Right. In Singapore, the government is pushing a lot of green, sustainable movements. And as most of you would know, ESG, there are different scopes, scope 1, 2, 3, 3 being indirect. And my personal take is that the indirect emissions is actually the one that all of us have a big play in. Direct emissions is easy to measure. It's a direct output from what your business does, be it data centers, factories, and so on. But indirect is all of us. Everyone, the workforce, your partners, your vendors, your suppliers, right? It has the widest impact to the whole economy. So, Kenneth, can I invite you to share your thoughts about how Scope 3 emissions, right, actually has the biggest impact in your industry, and if your thoughts on video collaboration can really, help in this area, right? And how will it transform the way we do business? Kenneth?
Thanks very much, Kenneth. Before I talk about Scope 3, I just want to mention Scope 1, right? So hospitals and healthcare facilities, hospitals specifically, have quite distinct Scope 1 challenges as well. Because firstly, hospitals are, I'm sorry, but very big emitters of carbon dioxide. All right, we have to be air conditioned to the large extent, and our operating theaters, for example, routinely run at between 19 degrees to 22 degrees, right? With frightfully cold in Singapore. So the air conditioning requirements are very high. So there are a lot of challenges that we're trying to address. On top of that, there are some quite specific things. So anesthesia gases, for example, also do emit a lot of carbon dioxide. So there are a lot of Scope 1 challenges that are quite unique to healthcare that we address. When it comes to Scope 3, I think definitely this is a little bit harder because we are dealing with partners and with parties that are not within our direct command and control, all right? But we can influence them, all right? And with respect to what we've been discussing today, certainly video consults, we all are very sure about this, has significantly reduced the Scope 3 emissions. If we are able to convert 30% of our specialist outpatient consultations, for example, that would dramatically reduce the number of people who need to travel to each of our healthcare facilities, right? And every year we do close to 2 million consultations. All right. And if we can reduce that by 30%, let alone 50%, right? But if we can bring it down by 30%, imagine that's 300,000 less trips to a clinic. All right. And I think that quite significantly reduces the carbon footprint. Another aspect that we're looking at is centralization of some of our facilities and resources. So we now, in an aid to reduce dwell time for our patients, we actually if you come to our hospitals now, for example, in SGH, you can get a mobile queue number. You can come in to see the doctor immediately. Not in all clinics. I don't want to overpromise, but in quite a few of them, you can come in to the clinic, see the doctor, and once you see the doctor across all our clinics, you can just go home. Right, your next appointment, your bill, as well as your medication will all be sent to you at home. All right. Now we send those medications from the hospital, and we have couriers to send them to the patients' homes. But if we can centralize that central pharmacy, which is something we're working with the Ministry of Health, what we call a central fill pharmacy, we don't need to house those pharmacies within the hospital. They can be sited at one or two centralized locations, and we could then better plan the delivery pattern. And it may not need to go to the home, but it can go to drop boxes and things like that, right? So these are ways by which we can reduce the carbon footprint a little bit further. Yep.
Wow, Kenneth, thanks for sharing so much insights. I have a little playful question. The voice of the customer is quite key. So in this transformation, right, where you are bringing logistics, medical logistics together and so on, if you had your wish, right, and you have Eric listening here and Bill listening here, what would your wish be from a customer standpoint in how the technology platforms of the future should evolve to support medical healthcare industry?
Well, I mean, specifically with regards to video first capabilities, with Eric and Bill, I see a few challenges that I think some of it are already being addressed today. And I categorize them maybe in two or three. Sorry, I'm not very good at keeping track of my thoughts. But the first is really this digital divide. Whether we like it or not, there is a segment of the population which is a little bit less savvy, all right, a little bit less able to get connected. And we're making a lot of efforts to educate and to onboard this segment. But from a healthcare perspective, very often this segment of the population is usually the most vulnerable, elderly, lower socioeconomic group, lower education level, quite often living alone, and they're the ones most in need of help, right? So what we've seen today is making that seamless, frictionless, one-touch access, I think would go a long way towards bridging this digital divide. And next is maybe a follow-on on something which Eric said. Two things which Eric said. One is having frictionless systems, and that's wonderful. It leads to another problem which Eric also alluded to. In what we are beginning to see in our healthcare system is that because it's so frictionless, it becomes by default the way everyone wants to interact. And we're beginning to lose the coming together of people, building the teams. As Eric said very, very poetically, right? That warmth of a handshake, the generosity of a hug, we lose those physical interactions. So I think we need to find the right mix of where we use video and digital connection as a default, but we do need to create opportunities where we come together because all of us as human beings are social beings, right? And the last is related to this. I'm sorry, take too long. Last point is that when we come to patient interaction, even as we move to video consults, we need to ensure that this augments and complements the physical interactions. It can't completely replace physical interactions because the practice of medicine is actually a very humanistic practice. So I think it can't replace, but it has to augment and complement. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Kenneth. Now shifting gears to the financial industry, Patrick. Again, same question, Scope 3 indirect emissions, a little bit, playful on this as well. So What are your thoughts from the bank? What are the leaders' ideas of how Maybank can evolve to be more carbon neutral? And what are your thoughts from running the technology department, right? Do you think you can contribute by making scope 3 emissions reduce for your customers and partners, right?
Right. Thanks, Kenneth. From the bank's perspective, right, we are playing the catalyst role, meaning that we do provide green financing. So we look at buildings that qualify as green and not greenwashing, right? That's green. And we do provide those, and we got very, very good traction on that with our customers. And from bank's perspective, at least Maybank, we look at three things: financing, product, and human. So product itself, we would like to design products that help our customers, push our customers, those who are thinking of going green but do not know how to do it. We have products like that, right? We bring in the specialists as well to advise them, right? From bank's perspective, our internal customers, right, our staff, we do set sustainable challenges for them, right? So we do encourage them, even from how they purchase things from home. They set themselves the target, and then they put it in, and they say, hey, do we reach the target, and how far we want to go, right? So from that perspective, we are playing the catalyst role, try to push the customers into that area.
Well, actually, it's a very powerful role you play, because in green financing, not only you are educating the market and customers, but you are also getting them aware, right? So it serves two roles. It's not just a catalyst, also it is an educational role that people can participate in this green movement. And thank you for sharing your thoughts. With Eric and Bill here as well, as running the technology department of a bank, definitely you have some wish lists, or shout out for the future. What would you like, right? Of course, Eric talked about, handshakes, smell of coffee. I don't know whether I'll still be around when when that happens, but I hope to, right? But for you, Patrick, what do you foresee, that you want to see in the industry that you are in? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Maybank prides itself also as a good customer service bank, right? That's for sure. And digitalization actually complements our strategy, the business strategy on that. And our view is that for anything that's video first, it is complementary to the services that we provide face to face, right? People will still come in, customers will still walk in. If you look at recently, right, they still need the ang pao new notes. I don't know why. We have all the digital apps that you can do it, but it's still a culture thing, right? But we see this as a journey. Really, it's a journey that how we can urge our customers to go onto the digital platform. That includes video, voice, right? Even the apps itself, right? If you ask me what would be my wish list, I hope and I wish everything on the web, on the internet will be safe, right? With multi-factor and encryption end to end. That's a little bit technical, but that is really, really important to us. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, shifting gears to education. Now, education, there's a very huge population of learners, right, that will often need to commute to study, right, to participate in classes, in labs, and so on. So scope 3 emission is a very huge scope for the university, definitely, right? What are your thoughts on that? And, how, does the university intend to use technologies like video collaboration to reduce, scope 3 emissions?
So thank you for the question. I think first of all, I just want to say that NTU has placed sustainability as one of its very important goals, and also as in its humanity grand challenges, it also places the mitigating the impact of environmental and climate change as one of its the goals that you would like to work on. And to that regard, it has set up an NTU Sustainability Office about 2 years ago to coordinate across the entire campus, which Kenneth, you rightly pointed out, is is really huge, not just in terms of land area, but also we have more than 30,000 students, close to 10,000 faculty, staff, etc. We have a huge population. And NTU also issued sustainability linked bonds about 2 years ago. It's a 15-year sustainability linked bonds. So thanks to the finance sector for working with us to launch this this bond. So this bond also sets certain targets in place, 15-year, very, very long-term targets in place. So this is one say the onset. As to how this scope 3 or this how we have been impacted through videos and video first collaboration, I would say in a large population we also have international students, international faculty, and as you know, they travel. They like to travel for conferences. They like to travel for student exchange. Maybe students will go to Silicon Valley for 3-month attachment. So we certainly see that this video platforms has, in the past 3 years, certainly helped to reduce all these. Not saying it's a good thing, but it has reduced all this travel almost to almost zero for about 2 years. Almost no travel at all. So we can imagine the impact on the greenhouse gases and the environment. And not only that, we also observe that even intra-company, intra-university, between departments, the campus is huge. We have 3 sites. We used to have to travel to a common place for meetings. So intra-travel also reduced. So also another saving, as well as inter-organizations. Even when we want to go and visit companies and fellow universities, so we also those travel also significantly reduced. And we are also prepared to meet vendors. Even our vendors, we used to insist that they have to come in person in front of us, talk to us, do your sharing, and that also there's a certain level of acceptance now. So I see all this as quite a good thing. Now we are really open to the possibility of really a hybrid world. Whatever fits best and most appropriate for the situation, we are ready to embrace it.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. In fact, I think it's going to be very exciting for the educational industry, especially because most of us have gone through schools, universities, and while we appreciate learning classes, right, from a professor remotely, there are certain things that cannot be replaced easily. Now, of course, what Eric spoke about, the warm handshake, the hug. I don't remember I last hugged my professor. So that may not be the thing I was looking forward to, but certainly certain classes, for example, labs, right? In fact, project work, discussions, how will that evolve? And do you have your wish list? You have Eric sitting beside you.
Yes,
you are one of the top universities in Asia. So the question I have for you to put you on the spot and also Eric on the spot is, what's your wish list? What would the university of the future look like? What can Eric from Zoom and Bill from Singtel, expect to build for you in the future if you had your way, right?
Yeah, I would say I like the word interoperability. So I hear that when I went around the booths. So my first wish list is regardless of the current video platforms that we use, whether it's Zoom or etc., brand B, brand C. So one of my wish lists is I hope is really I wish for a day where it's totally seamless, frictionless, interoperable. So it doesn't matter what platforms you use, you can connect to any other platforms. Similar to emails. I think today emails, whatever you either use Hotmail, whatever, Google Mail, whatever mail, you can still exchange your email and share documents, etc. So this is one of my wish lists. The other wish list I have is I saw that in one of the booths there. I think it's about having more AI embedded capabilities into your platform, and perhaps what you can help the education sector is to be able to do things like attention and engagement tracking and analysis. So in a class, the professors sometimes struggle, don't know who's really paying attention and who's just showing a wallpaper and don't know whether the person is there. So if you have a way to track whether the person is paying attention, engagement through the use of AI. I think that will be also good. The other thing I wish I like is if you can have a more accurate way to capture notes of meetings very accurately, and you can attribute to the person who said it. Sometimes 3 or 4 people may be talking at the same time, but yet you can, through the platform, you can say, oh, this A said this, B said that, and it's all documented to you. So at the end of it, the meeting, wow, the minutes all, draft meetings or minutes all prepared. So it's really very highly productive. And I also like your idea of smell. So you can enable smelling. I attend Zoom meetings on durians, celebration of durians. So I can smell durians, or I can, things like that. So if we can do that, I'll be more than happy to I look forward to it. So.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
We are very committed to build all those features.
Wow. Actually, this is a very exciting time, right? We have Eric and Bill here listening to the customer voice. And I mean, can you smell durians through the Zoom session? Wow, that's amazing. In fact, Alvin, you can imagine one of the things that is an issue in the education industry is actually the proctoring or the checking of exams through Zoom sessions. It's not an easy one, as you have actually alluded just now. How do you track attention? How do you track a person is really in the meeting? And how do you track the person is actually the one doing the exam or the test? And I think that with AI, with other attributes that are built into the platform, with the openness of integration of different solutions, I think we can actually rise to the challenge. And you do realize that every one of these industries are different, right? From banking, you have to take care about fraud. Is the person that you're dealing with really the person that owns the account, or a person who has the picture of the signature, right? Is the person taking the exam the real person, right? And that's you never heard of these problems before, right? Obviously, in-person exams, you check their identity. Sometimes there could be mistakes, but usually there's none, right? But with such platforms, you do realize that there are issues with authenticity, right? And of course, with AI built into the platform, with solution providers putting in things together, I think we can really expect quite a lot of fundamental change. I think the key word that all our panelists actually spoke about is the use of it in different scenarios. And I think the next evolution is not just the warmth of the handshake, not just the smell, but the trust of the platform. The trust is not just digital cryptography or encryption. Trust is actually about whether do you trust the person doing the transaction. When I call Maybank, right, or when I talk to a teller, a video teller, is it really Maybank, right? And I think that is something that we will have to live with.
I'm really excited about the partnership between Zoom and Singtel. We have very clearly aligned vision, and the two companies are bringing the best, our leadership in changing the world of communications and collaboration. Zoom bringing the holistic solutions, whether it's Zoom Phone, Zoom One, Zoom Meetings, virtual chat capabilities, and combining with Singtel's capabilities in 5G, in CPaaS, which is our communication platform as a service, Paragon. We're really making this whole unified communications and collaboration easy for our customers, seamless for our customers, but yet very powerful in enabling the communications and collaboration needs. So this exciting vision and how we're bringing this together between the two leaders and enabling these possibilities for all our enterprises.
Zoom's collaboration vision is to make a collaboration experience frictionless. As the distributed workforce are becoming more and more popular, how to support customers, partners, and employees to stay connected is becoming more and more important. How to leverage technology, to leverage collaboration technology, to make a collaboration experience secure and frictionless is very critical for the future workforce. And Zoom's collaboration platform, including Zoom Video, Zoom Phone, Team Chat, Whiteboard, Contact Center, conference solutions, all together will offer a very consistent experience to help employees stay connected, to focus on productivity and creativity.
Well, if you look at the two companies bringing their capabilities together in this combined partnership and integrating offerings together, the companies can really expect a lot more seamless, a lot more cost-effective, and innovative solutions in unified communications and collaborations. And whether be it applied into vertical industries like healthcare, like insurance, and like education sector, or whether be it applied across horizontally across what's called the workplace of the future, which every company is all thinking about because of hybrid working. They have to enable maximum utilization of their reduced footprint of offices, for example. And how do they then use solutions from Singtel and Zoom to be able to help them maximize those real estates and yet bring the productivity driven through collaboration and communications for their employees without complexity at all. And this is what helps drive the whole agility in this whole new digital age.
As we transform Zoom product to become a platform play, we got to keep innovating. The best way of innovation is to innovate with your customer and partner. Both Zoom and Singtel share the same vision and culture to build the best solution to customer and make the customers happy. How to leverage both sides, technology and platform, to offer a seamless and frictionless experience is very important. With Zoom's application platform, along with Singtel's brand and infrastructure, 5G and IoT, we are very confident this integration and partnership can truly delight customers.